Okay, so to start this, you want to have something to write with, a pencil or a pen, preferably a pencil. You would probably want to have a calculator, and either you have this paper already or you've printed it off from the internet, or possibly you're just writing these problems down on lined paper and going down with us. So just make sure that you're ready. I'm about to go into the next part of this video where I'm going to say hi and I'm going to go over what we're going to talk about. But I do want to make sure you go and get ready to start this video. Hi, and welcome to this video on combining like terms. We're going to look at some examples of how to combine like terms, so simplify the expression, and we're also going to see how we can check our solution. So here we go. I'm going to start with number 1, and I'm just going to kind of talk you through how I would do this and how I recommend. So as I look through number 1 says 4x plus 5 plus 2x. So I notice that 4x and 2x have the same variable in them. I also notice that everything is addition, so that's really important. And I notice that 5 is a different term. So it's just a constant, doesn't have a variable. So what I'm going to do is, in my mind, I'm going to put 4x and 2x together first. Then I'm going to add 5. So this first step here where you see me putting it in the parentheses, that's something that you won't have to show every time, but I'm just demonstrating it to you to be clear. So 4x's plus 2x's is 6x's plus 5. Now I can't add this together to get 11 because, this is actually different terms. So 6x plus 5 is the simplified version of this expression. So now we've done that. Now what I want to talk to you about is how you can actually check your solution. So to check the solution, we're going to use RSS, and we're going to use substitution. So the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite the expression 4x plus 5 plus 2x. Now, if I simplified it correctly, then it should be equal to or equivalent to 6x plus 5. They should actually have the same value, even though they look different. So if that's true, then I should be able to pick a value for x, any value I want, and I should be able to plug it into the equation, and then the simplified version on both sides should be the same value. So I'm going to pick a value, anything I want for x. I'm never going to choose 1, and I'm never going to choose 0. So I'm going to choose x equals 10. And like I said, I'm just picking that. So I'm just like picking that off the top of my head. So what I'm going to do now, I've already rewritten my expression. Next, I'm going to substitute. So I'm going to write 4, and then I'm going to leave a space for x plus 5 plus 2 times, and I'm leaving an empty space here to put in the value for 10. On the other side, I have 6 times x plus 5. So I'm going to substitute all of these x's. Remember I said x equals 10. And just to remind you, for some of you who just kind of returned with me here, x equals 10, I just made that up. Like I just picked it. So there you go. So I substituted 10 for all of the x's in the expression. So now I'm going to evaluate the left. 4 times 10 is 40, plus 5, plus 2 times 10 is 20. And when I add all this together, I get 65. On the other side, I'm going to evaluate. Now watch how much easier or simpler it is on this side. 6 times 10 is 60, plus 5. Look at how that's so much faster, 65. 65 equals 65, that's a check. So what that tells me is when x equals 10, both of these expressions give me the same value. So that means they're probably equal. And So that means I've probably found the correct answer. So what I want to be clear with you about is this, that the solution is here, that the simplified version here is my answer. This 65 over here, it's not my answer because I just made up x equals 10 just to check my answer. 6x plus 5 is my simplified version. I've found my answer. So I'll try to do the second one a little faster. So in the second expression, I am supposed to simplify the expression by combining like terms. That's the directions. And I look through my expression and I'm looking to see if everything's addition, and it is. And I'm also looking to see, do I have any like terms? I see I have 3 x's here and 4 x's here. And this is a y, so that's a totally different term. So I'm going to combine my x's together. 3 x's plus 4 x's is 7 x's. This time I didn't write it out in parentheses, I just did it in my head. Plus 4y. So 4y is a different term, so that's why I didn't add it with it. So it looks like I have simplified, it would be 7x plus 4y. And I think that that's my simplified version. So now I'm going to check it. So to check it, I'm going to 3x plus 4y plus 4x. So I just rewrite the expression as it was. And that should equal 7x plus 4y. They should be equivalent. So that means if I pick a value for x, like I'm going to pick anything I want, I'm never going to choose 0, I'm never going to choose 1. So let's say x equals 2. And for y, I'm going to say y equals 5, because this time I actually have to find a value for another variable as well as x. Okay, so now I'm going to substitute, because I already rewrote, so now I'm going to substitute for these variables. So 3 times x plus 4 times y plus 4 times x. And x is 2, and y is 5. So what does that equal? Well, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 4 times 5 is 20, plus 4 times 2 is 8. And so when I add this together, I get 34. So let's check the other side. 7 times x plus 4 times y. So that's 7 times 2 plus 4 times 5. So 7 times 2 is 14 plus 4 times 5 is 20. Notice how this is simpler than the other side. I only had to worry about multiplying there the one time. The 2 times there, and then I add 14 plus 20 is 34. So they are equivalent. Yay, it checks. That means that I probably have the correct the simplification. So I say probably because, it's possible that you can make enough mistakes that it might appear to be equal, but most likely this is a pretty good way to check your answer and be pretty confident that you got it right. All right, so there's examples 1 and 2. Let me show you number 3, and this time for number 3, I'm actually going to get the wrong answer because I want to show you what the check looks like when you get the wrong answer. So in number 3, I'm going to make a mistake that a lot of people make when they do this. They sometimes, when they find the like terms, and I'm adding here so I'm not worried, when they find the like terms, rather than adding them together, sometimes people multiply them. So let's say they thought it was 35x. And they see, now this time I have 3 and 4. Those are actually also like terms. And I should be adding them. But let's just say I made the mistake of multiplying them and got 12. So now I think that the correct expression is 35x plus 12. And I think that's my answer. So what I would do to check it is I would rewrite my expressions. 5x plus 3 plus 7x plus 4 should equal 35x plus 12. And so I just need to find a value for x, something I would like it to be. I'm going to pick x equals 2 again, okay? So I'm going to do 5 times x plus 3 plus 7 times x plus 4. And over here I'm going to do 35 times x plus 12. So when I do that, and I put 2 in here for all the x's, over here I get 10 plus 3 plus 14 plus 4. And that equals, 18, 28, 31. And then this should equal what it is over here. So 35 times 2 is 70. Plus 12 is 82. These are not equal. Well, some people think that this is the part where they walk away, but nope. You can't leave it not equal. It has to be equal. So that means there's a mistake. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to work my way back and figure out where my mistake was. Okay? I'm going to start by making sure that I didn't make any errors when I put in the 2. And it looks like I used a 2 throughout, and make sure I didn't make any simple errors with my multiplication, and I didn't. And then I'm just going to go back and make sure I wrote everything correctly. 5x plus 3 plus 7x plus 4. That's written correctly, and over here I wrote it correctly. So that's not the issue. The issue may have been that I have the wrong simplification. So this part here, where I wrote out this expression to check it, and I substituted to check it, and I have the value of 31, I'm pretty sure that's right, so I'm not going to change that. What needs to change is my answer back here. This is probably not the correct answer, so let's go back and do it again. Let's do it right this time. 5x's plus 7x's isn't 35, it's 12x, because I add them. Plus 3 plus 4 isn't 12, it's 7, because I should be adding. So it's really probably 12x plus 7. So let's check that solution. 12x, simplification, plus 7. So that means 12 times x plus 7. And I'm using 2 for x here, so I substitute it in. So 2 times 12 is 24, plus 7. 24 plus 7 is 31. Aha, it checks now. So now I have the correct solution, or the correct simplification. So remember, 31 is not my answer. 12x plus 7 is the answer they were looking for. That is the simplified expression. So that's why I'm highlighting it. I'm gonna show you here number 4. And this time, as I look through, everything's addition, but you notice that I have a negative here. So I want to talk to you about what to do when you have a negative. So negative 4x plus 2x. So I'm adding negative 4x's plus 2x's. And then I'm going to add 2y plus 3y. Okay, so when I'm adding these numbers, I'm actually adding the coefficients. So in this case, the coefficient of x is negative 4 and positive 2. So negative 4 plus positive 2, different signs, subtract this time and keep the larger sign. So that'd be negative 2x. And again, I'm adding the coefficients. So 2 plus 3 is 5, 5y. So now I think my solution is negative 2x plus 5y. So to check it, I'm not going to have enough room to write them side by side, so I'm just going to stack it this time. So negative 4x plus 2y plus 3y plus 2x. And I'm going to go ahead and use x equals 10 and y equals 2. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I'm just picking stuff. So let me do the substitution here and come back. Okay, so I have, when I substituted in 10 for x and 2 for y, I ended up with negative 40 plus 6 plus 4 plus 20, and that equals negative 10. So that is the value for the original expression when x equals 10 and y equals 2. So now let me do it for the simplified version. So I have negative 2x plus 5y. So that would be negative 2 times, I'm using 10 for y, 10 for x, plus 5 times 2 for y. So I have negative 20 plus 10 equals negative 10. So these are the same value. So that means I probably have the correct simplified version. And notice, I want to just re-emphasize that every time we did this and we substituted in a value for the variables, notice how much simpler it was in the simplified version. It's called simplified because it's easier. It's easier to say, it's easier to write, it's easier to simplify. All right, we're going to look now at a couple with negatives. So in these last 6 down here, we're going to have an additional step because we don't just have addition, we have subtraction in our expressions. And so combining like terms, we need to, in order to be able to combine like terms and move things around, there needs to be addition because we're actually using the commutative property of addition in order to be able to do the things we're doing. So our first step is going to be to go through and everywhere that we have subtraction, we're going to change it to addition. So 6x, I'm going to, instead of having minus 2y, I'm going to do plus negative 2y plus x. So that's the invisible 1x plus, and then I have minus 5 is plus negative 5. So everywhere there's a subtract, I'm going to change it with an add negative. Now I'm going to go through and find the like terms. So I have x's, and then I have negative 2y, and then negative 5. And those are different terms. So when I add my like terms, I have 6 x's and 1x is 7x. Then plus negative 2y, because there aren't any other y's. And then plus negative 5, because that's the only constant. So now the next step I'm going to do is go through and make sure I don't have any like terms that I've forgotten. And I'm going to go through and change all of these double signs back to subtraction. So 7x, and then plus negative is really minus 2y, plus negative is minus 5. So then I'm just going to go back and change them. And then I would check my answer. So I'm going to check my answer. I'm going to show the first step, and I'll pause and I'll come back. So I wanted you to notice that when I rewrite my expression from the beginning, I rewrite it as it was before I changed anything to addition. I just rewrote the original thing. And I need to pick a value for x and y because there's an x and a y. So I'm going to have x equals 10 and y equals 2. And I usually use 2, 5, and 10 because those are the easiest numbers for me to multiply by. Okay, so I have 6, please write 6 times 10, and then minus 2 times y, so that's 2 times 2, and then plus, and this is just x, and then minus 5. Let me erase this equal sign. Oops. Minus 5. Okay, and on the other side I have 7 times x minus 2 times 2, because 2 times y, minus 5. So it's kind of slanted there, sorry. Now I'm going to evaluate this first side. I have 6 times 10 is 60. So I have 60. 2 times 2 is 4, so minus 4 plus 10 minus 5. And when I combine those all together and I use a calculator, I get, I get 61. So 61 over here. And let me try on this side. I have 7 times 10 is 70, minus 4, minus 5. And if I use a calculator, again, I'm going to get 61. I want you to notice, once again, how much easier and simpler it is on the right than it was on the left. And 61 equals 61, so I probably have the correct simplified version. So let me show you number 6. And I look through and I notice that number 6, again, there is subtraction. So I have to do my first step is I'm going to go through and change wherever I have subtraction and change to adding a negative. So I have 3n plus 5m, and then minus 6m is plus negative 6m, plus 2, and then minus 7n is plus negative 7n. And now I'm going to go through and find the like terms. So I have an n here and an n here. And I have an m here and an m here. And then I have a 2 as a constant. So I'm adding everything. Now when I add my like terms, remember this is a negative 7 over there. Be careful that your circle doesn't cut out your negative. When I'm adding the terms, I'm adding the coefficients. So I can put in the calculator, I'm doing 3n plus negative 7n. So in the calculator, I'll put 3 plus negative 7, and that equals negative 4. So same thing goes over here for these m's. I'm adding 5m plus a negative 6m. So I'm just going to put the coefficients in the calculator. 5 plus negative 6, different sign, subtract this time, is negative 1m. And then for the constant, I just have plus 2. So it's just plus 2. So when I go through now and get rid of all my double signs and make sure I don't have any like terms, when I get to this m here, I have a choice. Negative 1m is the same thing as m. So I can just write minus m or minus so I can either write minus m or minus 1m. And I'm just gonna I keep writing m there. I'm sorry. Got rid of that 1. And then plus 2. So that is the simplified version. So I'm going to let you go ahead and do a check for that. Make sure it's correct in sake of time and space. But there is the simplified version of that one. So what I'm going to have you do now is just pause the video and try 7 and 8, and then you can return and see if you agree with the answers. So those are the answers, or the simplified versions for number 7, 5x minus 5, and number 8, 4n minus 4. For number 8, if you don't have minus 4 here in the back, just check your integer rules, because 2 plus negative 6, different sign, subtract this time, you should get negative 4. So let's look at the last two then together, number 9 and number 10. And again, I'll show you how to do that check. So number 9, as I look through this, I'm looking for like terms and I'm looking for subtraction. So I have to change all of this. So I have negative 9. Subtract 5 is plus negative 5a, plus negative 7, plus negative 3a. I notice when I do this, I try to give a lot of space between my terms, and that's so that I can circle them. So I look for all the ones with letters. So I have negative 5a and negative 3a, and I have negative 9, which is a constant, and negative 7, which is a constant. So those are things I can all combine together. So I make sure to space it all out. So now I'm going to combine negative 5a and negative 3a. So same signs, add and keep the sign. I have negative 8a plus negative 9 plus negative 7. Same signs, add and keep the sign. I get negative 16. So now I'm going to go through and make sure I don't have any like terms, and I don't. and I'm going to change all the double signs back. So negative 8a minus 16. So when I do the check for this, I just need to pick a value for a, and I'm going to choose a equals 3. So I just picked that. So then I'm going to rewrite the original expression before I changed it, before I changed anything around. I had negative 9 minus 5a minus 7 minus 3a. And now I'm going to substitute in this expression, everywhere there's an a, I'm going to substitute the value 3 that I picked off the top of my head. And like I said, you can use any number you want for a, just don't use 1 and don't use 0, because they sometimes cause problems. So, negative 9, 5 times 3 is, I'm subtracting 15, minus 7, 3 times 3, I'm subtracting 9. So this is, all these subtractions are plus negative. So I have all like terms here. So same signs, add and keep the sign. And I'm just going to add all of these numbers together. And I get 30. I get 40. Negative 40. So that was a lot to work out. Let's see how much easier it is in the simplified version. Remember, I should be using the same value for a and get the same answer. So negative 8 times a minus 16. So I'll do negative 8 times, I'm going to use 3 for a, minus 16. So a is 3. So now I'm going to do negative 8 times 3, it's negative 24, minus 16. And you might think, oh, that's probably 8 or negative 8. But remember, keep, change, flip. So negative 20, I'm really adding negative 24 plus negative 16, and I get negative 40. So I have the same value for both of these expressions when a is 3. So that means that I probably have simplified it correctly. There you go. So I will let you try number 10 on your own. So you can pause it and try 10. And I have negative 2w minus 2 for the simplified version. So there you go. There you have it. We went over the steps to simplifying and how to check our solution by choosing a value and substituting it in. So the main steps are, first you want to make sure that you go through and change, subtract to add. Then you're going to combine together. And we use the word combine because sometimes it's positive and negative. So we combine the coefficients of the like terms and the constants. Then after we do that, we go through and change back all the double signs. So when you have adding a negative, we just change those double signs back. And then finally, you check your answer by evaluating. So the 4 C's: change, subtract to add, combine like terms, change the double signs back, and then check your answer. Thanks for watching.